The champs are here. Sorry. Singing is god-awful on the show. What's up, everybody? Cheers to all of you tuning in here tonight. An absolutely awesome show here yet again. We have with us, as always, on the Champions Corner, the real champions of the show. I'm just some dude they found on the street. We got Super Bowl champion coaches Gregg Williams and Blake Williams joining us here from the Thor Cave.
The Thor Cave from Berea, Ohio, a.k.a. the Thor Cave, a.k.a. Valhalla. You can obviously see, who I'm picking tonight. And we cooked up some. We grilled up, me and the kids. We grilled up some Vikings tomahawk ribeyes tonight. Some victory ribeyes. So predicting a Vikings win over the Rams on the road. It's going to be a hard fought game though, because and we'll get into it talking more. But obviously these two coaching staffs know each other so well, and these two offensive staffs. Right, I mean, Kevin O'Connell's off of this tree, right? And so both head coaches, the offensive play callers, and calling their versions of this, scheme here tonight. And so it'll be it come down to Sam Darnold versus Matthew Stafford, and come down to really, how much Brian Flores and that defense in Minnesota is able to get after the Rams. Offense who's still skating.
I can't wait to watch skating Brian.
Down a lot of.
I was gonna say everyone keeps forgetting about old Brian Flores and how he was actually a very good head coach. And Minnesota just kind of gets him up there as he's kind of seems like separating himself from the outside looking in. It looks like he's kind of separated himself from that mess and found a perfect little home away from home up in Minnesota. And he's got them boys playing some NFC North football. That is smash mouth football up there in that division this year, which actually we'll get into that division here in a little bit.
Yep, he's a good friend of mine, and he's done a lot of things. We've talked back and forth, and there's a few things that he's copied from what we do, what I've been doing for a long time, on how he disguises things on defense and makes the quarterback have to make the decision or guess what he's playing on defense post-snap and not pre-snap. And Brian does a great job of that. It's been a great pressure team. And, now that Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are back up, it'll be good for Matthew
There you
Stafford.
go.
How about that?
He still can't say David Njoku's name all these years later after we drafted him in the first round. He can't.
You busted
but
my
he
ass
says,
about hamster fire too.
It says Ndochu, but that was pretty good. I didn't. We coached Puka's older brother, Kai Nacua, was a safety for us here at the Browns. Yep. And then the younger brother is it a cousin? I think the younger brother is playing as a rookie at the Saints right now.
Right.
A lot of talent in that Nacua family.
It is. And what you just talked about a while ago is people don't realize all the commonalities and the coordination of the staffs, because there's a lot, Kevin and a lot of his staff, actually coached at the Rams with Sean McVay, and had a chance to also coach Matthew Stafford, which, he knows a lot of little nuances that Stafford understands, and he actually coached him and discussed things with him. So it'll be a good chess match tonight, and I'm anxious to see it.
It's actually Thursday night football. Sometimes they set that's the problem with Thursday night football is they set the schedule so early on in the year, and you don't know how the teams and the injury bug is going to bite them. Sometimes you get some freaking duds that are not studs on Thursday night. But tonight, so far, Thursday night football, they have crushed it. We've had some good games, and this is a big game for both teams. Minnesota coming off their first loss of the season against Detroit, and Detroit came from behind in another awesome game by Detroit. And then also, how does Minnesota bounce back with their first setback of the year? LA still in the mix. NFC West with the Niners being down, still a very winnable division. Big win tonight. They kind of throw themselves right back up into the mix there. Arizona, beatable team. Seattle, I still think a beatable team, but a very good team, and so is Arizona. Arizona's underrated. And I think it's only a matter of time before San Fran figures it out with Kyle Shanahan. But in the meantime, a win tonight for LA puts them up in the standings there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And wild card implications. And how big is it, you guys know, to get that NFC win? You know, that's the second tiebreaker. If it's not your division record, it's your conference record. So this is a big one there too.
It's big. You got to do those things in your division. Every single game's important, but you add those type of things, be it, you know, NFC, divisional, all those other type of things. That's very, very important.
Yeah. So speaking of, you know, hot starts, we actually have we're gonna play a little game of true or false with you guys. But first, we're gonna do true or false first. We want to talk about a very special event involving Coach Gregg Williams at Hall of Framers here on November 16th. Meet and greet at the brand new building of Hall of Framers up there on 138 Front Street in Berea, Ohio. 12 p.m. to at least 2 p.m. is the best way to describe that, if I'm not mistaken. Limit of 100 tickets. Some have been sold. Don't know how many are left, so don't wait. Don't hesitate. Go out there and appreciate the love of Gregg Williams out there that day. Coach, anything to add on that? Looks like a really good time. We've met them over there. They were on the inaugural show. Good dude.
Great dude. And the place there, as a sports person, as a collectible type person, you can go through his store and it's like going in a museum. It's like going into a Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. All the things that he has up there and the way he goes about framing the things. If you have items of your own, you know, be thinking about that, because here's a guy that will make your man cave, woman cave, whatever sports cave you have. He has a great way of going about making sure they're framed properly. And it's just a fantastic event. And then, you know, I'll do autographs for, you know, probably an hour, but then also the other thing is a question and answer session to tell stories. And the big thing I've been talking about on that is that don't ask me if a question that, you know, may hurt your feelings, because I'm going to be very honest about the story that I'm going to tell.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome event. And if you guys have never been to Berea, it's such a cool town.
Yep.
Cool town. And Hall of Framers is right there next door to Mike's Bar and Grill, one of the best restaurants around here in Northeast Ohio. Just a really cool restaurant, great food. Mike's a great friend of ours. And so Mike is going to be catering in food, you know, for the event. That's part of the ticket on what you get. And that's why we say, hey, at least 2 hours, because they've got an amazing back patio as well too.
Oh,
beyond, that's right. And it's right there kind of in the intertwined in the heart of
I've been to a
really nice heart of Alden Wallace's campus right down there in the old buildings. And so we'll whenever we do finish up at Hall of Famers, we'll be over there at Mike's, you know, probably for the rest of the Saturday, watching the college games and all that type of stuff as well too. So come on out.
Yeah, and hopefully if all goes well, I do plan on being in attendance as well. I will sign any baby's forehead with a Sharpie. You are welcome.
There you go. Straight Kenny Power style.
Hey, that's right. Yeah, I don't want to wash that forehead now. All right.
Real quick before we start Truth or Dare, though. Or
True or false. I don't know what game you're wanting to play. I don't want that.
The garage beer's hitting.
Yeah,
garage beer's
don't dare me.
Garage beer, the drink of the gods in Valhalla.
Of Thor. Thor's hammer. Blessed.
Prost. That's how the Germans and the God of Thunder says cheers. But
I would say Nostrovia.
Oh, there you go. True or false? G-Dub, what do you think of my Thor outfit?
It's unbelievable. Every time I see you get in that thing, it makes me laugh. And as you know, I need to have things that causes me to laugh, because I'm pissed off more times in my life than anything.
That's true.
And when I saw you had that on, I'm just going, my God.
He was down here. He was down here in the movie theater we're at right now watching, you know, NFL Network or whatever, staying up on all this stuff. And I didn't know I was, you know, all dressed up doing this stuff. And so I texted him, said, hey, can you come up here real quick, you know, or whatever. And he came upstairs and turned the corner, and he just like,
fell over.
He did. His eyes bugged out. And he fell over. What do you think, Tony? What do you think? What do you think about the Comic-Con
I love it. You make me
took the wig off. I have a wig, a beard. I have the whole thing.
Yeah. The wig was epic. The egg was wet. The wig was epic. I described it as it looked like you stuck your finger in an electrical socket. But no, man, you're cut, dude. You've been working out. You can rock that thing. I would look like Thor 2, like the drunk fat version where he's got pizza boxes laying all over. That's what I would look like. But yeah, I think one year I dressed up as Richard Simmons, as that was like, and they had like sweat, and I had the Hess band, I had the fro on. I put like socks down in my groin area. I had the short shorts on and the Velcros and the tube socks. That was probably my best Halloween outfit.
We need to go. We need to do one Halloween. We need to do Eastbound and Down.
I'm down.
You be Kenny Powers, and I'll be
Stevie.
Well, I was gonna say I could be Stevie, or I'll be put the blonde wig on and be
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah. God, what a great one. I'm down for that. I am 100% down. They said, no, you let him watch.
No, you let him watch.
All right, so before we get into the game here, we have some fun topics to bridge.
About what he's wearing. All my old teammates and my close friends and all that kind of stuff are going to be calling me and ripping me about how ripped he is and in great shape.
It's the Halloween season. It's the Halloween season. We got the Vikings and the Rams. We had to get into the spirit. But hey, speaking of that, let's get into the spirit of some true or false. What do you got?
That's right. So here's our first segment on this show: true or false. All right, guys, it's real simple here. Throw up a thing. You say if this statement is true or false. Part 1. Derrick Henry will break the single-season rushing record. True or false?
I'll go first. And basically, I think it'll be false. I hope he can. I'm pulling for him. But that is a tough record, even with 17 games over 16 games where Eric Dickerson set the record. But it's going to be tough to stay healthy to do that as the season goes on.
And I'm going to say true. I'm going to say true because of 17 games. Obviously, he's got to stay healthy. And because of that offense and the running threat of Lamar Jackson and the passing threat. I mean, you see what happened last game. Like, I think back to the last game, right? So last game, like, they made all the big old stink, or not big stink, but they were making a lot of like stuff, social media stuff like that, and commentating in the game on, he only had, it's got like 2 carries, or maybe it was 4 carries in the first half, but like or 4 touches. In the first half, like what's going on, and they kept cutting to him over on the sideline, saying that he looked frustrated, which he didn't. That's just how he looks on game day. But then all of a sudden they come out in the second half, and he rushed 17 times for 170 yards, 169 yards, or whatever, right? And so he's well on pace to be over the record right now. And then because of having the 17 games, but his yards per attempt are way up as well too. And so he's doing it because he's rushed for 2,000 yards previously, right? He's one of the few people in history to do it. And then we become one of the few people, if not only people, to do it twice in their career. But yeah, I mean, he's doing it on fewer attempts, and fewer people kind of being able to key in on him. Like last game, again, like I said, as you had Lamar Jackson, I think had 5 incompletions and 5 touchdowns, right? And so,
and then our buddy, our coaching buddy that we coached with before, Todd Monken's the offensive coordinator. So I'm going to say false, and you're going to say true, and I'm going to tell you which one he's going to make to be the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, Derrick Henry's got a tough one this weekend. Browns' rushing defense has been stepping up the last 2-3 weeks. Held Cincinnati to season lows in a lot of categories, and Schwartz is getting his boys back and healthy. So, yeah that's the thing. You got to be such a model of consistency. Real quick before we move on, does it count, in your opinion, if he does it in the one extra game that other guys and players haven't had in the past? Or is it, to truly break the record, he has to do it in 16 games?
Yeah, I mean, it counts because that's how time goes, right? And so you need to look at, like, are we talking about rushing yards in a season, and or any types of records in a season, and the season gets longer. That happens in all sports, like over time, right? And so there's also records like, hey, most yards per game in a season, and so like we understand that, right? And so like Jim Brown, back in the day, season. Right, in 12-game seasons, the first 2,000-yard rusher in the NFL was O.J. Simpson, and that was a 14-game season, right? That he did it. And so those yards, think about the yards per game, rushing to do that, right? And so we know they're all great. But yeah, I mean, time evolves, right? And so when you add more length to the season, I mean that changes things, and so I mean there's no asterisks needed. Like it's cool that in this day and age, right, we're kind of getting a little bit of a running's coming back into the NFL, right?
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
If you look at this year and this season.
Okay, well, moving on here. True or false? The best division is the NFC North in the NFL. And I'm not saying current records. We're looking at overall talent right now as it sits. The NFC North is the best division in the NFL. True or false?
I'll start with this one. True. It's definitely true. It's not a fluke. All four of these teams can flat play. All four of these teams are playing good defense. All four of these teams have quarterbacks that have the ability to really get after it and play well. One of which, or probably two of which being Sam Darnold and Jared Goff are playing, probably front runners for battling each other for the MVP of the league, right, this year in terms of the way they're playing. And so, it's not a fluke. It's not just a record thing. Like, they are by far and away also they're the top four teams in the NFL right now on plus minus point differential. Right. Yeah. So not just win losses, but plus minus win differential. Like a few years ago, two years ago, when the Vikings, O'Connell's first year there, that was a big thing where the Vikings won like 11 games or something like that. But then they had like a negative or a neutral plus minus differential, right? They were right there at that, and they won like 10. I think it was an NFL record. Right. They won NFL 10 or 10 or 11 games that year by less than a touchdown. So you kind of knew, like last year, okay, they took a little bit of step back, but you knew there's going to be some sort of like regression to the mean. Like, that's not how it is this year. I mean, these four teams are putting it on people, and winning by multiple scores week in, week out.
All right, so we're going to go on record, and we actually agree on something. I say true.
I didn't bring my jacket.
What you just talked about, I thought I think offense, defense, both special teams, it's a really good, well-coached division. And you just brought up those two names that are playing lights out at the quarterback position, who I've had a chance to coach, both of those guys with Goff, and Darnold. And I think it's lights out, and don't count out the other teams right now because they're playing very well too. And I think Matt Eberflus is doing a great job at Chicago, and Matt LaFleur at Green Bay. And it's by far, in my mind, the best coach division in ball right now.
I want to say this real quick on how proud I am on this Excelsior Springs Country Bumpkin. He has said Puka Nacua. Mm-hmm. He has said Matt Eberflus, and he has said Matt LaFleur tonight, and like said them all with like perfect enunciation.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, what you don't know is
I'm like, who is this guy right here?
Hey, see what happens when you come on the Dude Network? They say we're just some hicks.
All he needed was
we have culture. Our culture.
Patron. I just needed a little bit Patron, and I got it. I do speak 6 or 7 or 8 languages. Okay? Yeah, and in some of the languages, people don't ever understand. Yeah, but I'm good.
Pig Latin.
So, did either one of you guys ever coach Chris Fuamatu Malafala? Boom.
How about that? We did not. But I wish I could. I wish I would have.
Yeah,
we did not. I'm trying to think the hardest name for him is Njoku. I'm trying to think the hardest name or I coached a player at the Browns and at the Jets, and his real name was Amin Bajabil Bello.
Yeah. How about that one, Bello?
And so we called him BJ.
That's
BJ
what I call him.
is,
The hell with all that
and
rest
everybody
of that.
called him BJ
Yeah.
Bello.
Yeah.
But his it's a Nigerian name, but his first name is Amin, and his middle name is Bajabia, and so hence BJ and then Bello. And so that was one.
We had Goldilocks.
Yeah, Joe Salavea.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
See-
of any other like crazy.
See, I had to do.
We had a Viking. I can't remember. Oh, my mind's going blank. The defensive tackle for the Bills. That was the Olympian wrestler and grappler.
Oh yeah.
That you brought over to play in.
Yeah.
And he was an Olympian. Like, and he was a power lifter. And then he would like go to Iceland, go home to like Iceland or whatever.
Train in the
off season. He would come back and he would like. They would make him do a bench test, and he would throw like 6 plates. So whatever it was 500 something, but he'd throw like at least 6 plates on the bar, and he's supposed to be like 1 rep max, and he'd like do like 15 reps and like rack it, you know. And
some guys are built different.
His name was Leif Larson.
Leif Larson.
Leif Larson.
Yeah.
So
Leif, yeah.
Yeah, look him up. Leif Larson. He was like a freaking he was like just ungodly strong, right? Like strong. He was like a black belt, right? In like some sort of like jujitsu or something like that. And he was like a award-winning wrestler, but he came over and played like maybe 1 year or something like that, 1 or 2 years of football at UTEP, I think.
Right.
And then you guys got him at the Bills and taught him how to play defensive tackle.
Check whoop ass.
He said, "Check whoop ass. Find ball, see ball, get ball."
That was it.
Oh, sorry for derailing your.
No. I'm looking them up here. I got a picture of them. I just got to pull it up.
Yeah, we get into talking about Viking stuff, and all of a sudden I started thinking about that. But yeah, that was the first time. Like, and I was like, you know, an assistant, stuff like that, you know, and I always knew I was going to coach. So I was still playing in high school, but I was an assistant in the strength department for training camp and stuff like that. And so like being in there and seeing him come back. Yeah.
There he is.
And like, he's the first person that I ever saw like in chalking up like his chest.
Yeah, he was chalking
up his chest.
Yep.
And like starting with like 5 plates on the bar for like a warm-up set, right? Like your first warm-up set, you know, and then going
there
up
he is. Number 90, number 97.
Yep. That's him.
Yep. I honestly I bet he did. Like, I bet it probably says out there like 40 something reps or whatever.
This post came from 2020. It says, "This is painful and all from Eagles Nation, but Leif Olve Dolinen Larson looks exactly what I expected him to look like. We missed out on this dude." All right. Yeah, that's cool stuff. All right. On to the next.
It says he did 45 reps at the combine.
That's
at 225, and then he just got winded. He was like, "F this, like I'm done."
He's like, "All right, I've proven my work here." All right,
I think the record at that time, so he just racked it.
All right, here we go.
All right.
We're gonna save that last one for last because it pertains to tonight's game. True or false? Kansas City will win the AFC again. Acquired DeAndre Hopkins. Just keep adding on to these pieces here. They're looking good. They're undefeated. Last team standing, back to back, trying to make it a 3-peat overall, let alone in the AFC. Looks like it could be an easy true on this, but I'm curious. You know, you guys know the football, and there's a lot of good teams in the AFC still that could just need one good game. So, true or false? Kansas City will win for the AFC to go to the Super Bowl for the 3rd time.
I'll take the first one, and I'm going to say true. And I think, you know, one of the best coaches I've ever coached against in my life at all levels of football is Andy Reid, on how they have gotten everything cohesive. They're all on the same page there. I think that was a great signing with D-Hop. And I think that they're very well coached. And I think Spagnuolo is doing an excellent job, as he did last year, with the defense. And then the offense is only going to get better as the year goes on. So my answer is true.
Yeah, it's another time that we have to agree right here, as I say true as well too. And we've talked
What is
about
going on? This isn't fun. You guys are supposed to hate each other.
Well, I mean, just to be honest, they've already won 2. Like they said, I mean,
They have a proven track record.
Patrick Mahomes has thrown 6 touchdown passes to 8 interceptions on the year. So he's only thrown 6
and they're still winning.
And he's thrown. This was my time. You already talked.
Oh,
all right. And so,
here we go.
He's thrown 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, right? And Kelsey really isn't going off yet. They just got DeAndre Hopkins over there, like they talked about, and they're still 6-0. I think the division will end up being better than it is right now. I mean, obviously, I have a ton of respect for Sean Payton and Harbaugh and like those staffs at those 2 places. Right there. We saw that last week. You never know with the Raiders when you got Antonio Pierce and Tom Coughlin and Marvin Lewis and all those people out there on that staff. And so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I think they're like definitely. I mean, odds-on favorite, and they already got a lead of at being 6-0 without even playing anywhere up to their potential.
Okay, well, last true or false, and it is biggest surprise of a good start this year have been the Minnesota Vikings. We're not talking about bad starts. We're talking about good stuff. Keeping it positive here on the Champions Corner tonight. Biggest good surprise start have been the Minnesota Vikings. They lost Kirk Cousins. It was supposed to be, they drafted a rookie quarterback. They brought in Sam Darnold, who sat under Kyle Shanahan last year, and Brock Purdy for a full year, and just kind of got the chance to sit back and take it all in for the first time in his NFL career. And he comes and hits the no one expected this out of Sam Darnold, let's be honest. So are they the biggest surprise out of the NFL this year on a good start?
For me, it is true. And because I thought they took a step back last year. I thought, with Kirk Cousins leaving, just as you brought out, the drafting of the young quarterback, and Sam bouncing around and coming up there. But I do believe it shows Kevin O'Connell does a great job coaching the quarterback position, having played the quarterback position at this level. And he's done a fantastic job with that. But going into the season, I would not have predicted this fast a start for the Minnesota Vikings. True.
Okay. Yeah. And one more time, we have to agree, like when you frame it that way, I've got this Thor on. I've got this Thor, and he just punched me with the Super Bowl ring. I'm about to slap the shit out of Odin over here. Like he doesn't have his patch on yet, but like Odin's supposed to have, but I'll put that patch on him in a heartbeat. No, I agree. Like if you frame it that way, on biggest positive surprise, good surprise team in the league right now, it would definitely be them. Because you talk about the other teams like Tampa Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like we coach Baker, we know that whole thing, and they were a playoff team last year, and Baker tore it up last year, and they didn't have an adjustment of quarterback. Kansas City, right? Like, well, they're back to back, Super Bowl champions. They've got Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, like all this stuff. But if you look, like we talked about, like you framed, if you talk about losing Kirk Cousins, drafting a rookie and JJ McCarthy, and people thinking that you overdrafted him. Some people thinking you overdrafted him too high, then making the decision that like you're going to start him regardless. It almost looked like rebuild kind of, and then you lose him. And I think there's a lot of people out there, unless you're like really like keyed into the league, a lot of people out there did not realize that Sam Darnold was there as the backup. Right? I mean, Vikings were flying, and so when all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, Sam Darnold.
I really thought that was the best thing for Sam Darnold.
No doubt.
And
so people were like, oh, well, who knows? We'll see. Maybe, blah, blah, blah. Kevin O'Connell's a quarterback whisperer. And now you're seeing it play out this way. And so they are a pleasant surprise. And they're proving again that they're the real deal thus far. It'll be interesting to see what they do tonight. Hopefully they play well. I didn't cook Vikings tomahawk ribeyes and take a humongous bite out of one on camera and dress up as Thor for nothing. We both coached at the Rams, but predicting a Vikings win tonight.
So we one topic also we want to talk about here, and we kind of brought it up. Kansas City has brought in DeAndre Hopkins. And basically that brings up, and this is where it's going to be a fun point of view from your guys' perspective from being in these NFL locker rooms and coaching these NFL locker rooms. So you add a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. We're also hearing other trade rumors of other NFL megastars getting moved mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that an NFL locker room, it's the longest acclimation period of any professional sports after a trade. Baseball, you can come in, you're still going one-on-one with the pitcher to hit a home run. You know what I mean? Some individualism there. Basketball, you can still go out and just chuck a bunch of threes and drop 50. But football, there's 11 guys on the field, you and 10 other guys. And then you have the locker room, which is 20. You got 22 starters essentially in the NFL. How hard is it to adjust with bringing in a big name? And I'm not saying any of these guys have an ego, but when they come with the name, they come with the aura around them. Like, oh my God, that's D-Hop. That's such and such. What's it like adding that guy in to a locker room? And is it a distraction for the team? And as a coach, how do you kind of navigate around that if you've ever been in that similar situation?
The big thing is that he has a reputation, but guess what? Every day is an interview. Every single day. It's not about the past. It's about now. So he has to come in and earn it now. He has to earn his ability to communicate. The players feel for him and see. And when he gets on the field, he has to set an example that everybody else now wants to listen to him because they see what a talent he is. Now, he'll fit in well there. I believe that he's very happy about getting a chance to go from a team that wasn't playing very well now to a team to accomplish some goals that he hasn't hit in his lifetime right now, to be playing for a championship. And I don't think it could have been a better team for him to go to. And the way that Andy Reid manages personalities and manages egos and all that kind of stuff is, guess what, D-Hop? Yeah, you may have accomplished a bunch, but you better be ready to prove yourself when you step in these doors, because we've accomplished a bunch here too as a Kansas City Chief.
What a privilege to just have that. Like, no, you're coming to Kansas City. We don't care who you are. Like, we win championships here. Like, fall in line or fall out. Like, right. What an advantage in an NFL culture that is to have that, because Bill Belichick had it up in New England. You can, like Randy Moss. Like, Randy Moss, like, I just want to win. All right, come here, but your life's going to be sucky. Not as easy as what you're used to, but we're going to win games here. But I have a track record to prove it's worth your sacrifice. And that's what Andy Reid's got. Like, we can bring in anybody, but there's a really good chance you're going to win a Super Bowl here. That's got to be a great feeling. I mean, you guys felt that down in New Orleans. People probably wanting to come in.
That's how it was in New Orleans.
No doubt.
And with us now, we weren't really like big, like ever like buyers at the trade deadline or whatever. I mean, the way we did things down there was like we really built it. We had a really defined off-season approach on like how we'd installed our culture and our playbook, right? Our scheme and our culture, though, and our practice mentalities and our meeting mentalities and everything. We did that, installed that 4 times before the season rolled around. And so we kind of felt that like, and then we felt that we were really good at identifying the people who would fit in and do all that type of stuff like that with our whole everything. And so, and then we were very complex on both offense and defense, that like, hey, by the time the season rolled around, like the chances that we were going to go get this guy that was on the trading block, and he was probably maybe on the trading block at that time, because we're talking about 15 years ago, less of this was happening.
Right.
Movement was happening at the trade deadline. Right. And so there was probably a reason that that guy was being sold, say, at the trade deadline. And so the chance that he was going to come in and be able to perform, what over and beyond, say, like even some undrafted backup, right? Like if that undrafted backup was on our team, like chances are we'd cut a 4th round draft pick for him.
Yep.
Right. And so we had that sort of culture down there, but everything was homegrown. But we routinely would draft a guy in the third or fourth round, maybe, and then have an undrafted guy at that same position in that same class.
Same class.
They're both rookies.
Yep.
And that was something that G-Dub always did this and preached this, but that was really something I respected because Sean Payton having in charge of the 53-man roster like he did, and him believing that as well too, was Sean would everybody would see it. We'd see it in practice every day. Both these dudes are rookies. This dude's a draft pick. This dude's an undrafted guy. And it'd be I don't care. This dude's it. This dude isn't it. We'll cut this guy right now.
Right now.
And no sunk, because we're trying to win a Super Bowl every single year, and we believe we're going to win every single year. And so there was no sunk cost fallacies. There's no
nope.
Hey, let them develop. It's let them develop. That's what the last 5 months of the offseason was for.
Develop Bourbon Street.
But then those guys, he would be right. Those guys would be Pierre Thomas, right?
Yeah.
One of the guys I'm thinking about, right? Who was really our starting running back. Even he was playing more reps than even Reggie Bush was, right? But was an undrafted rookie, and there was a running back drafted in the fourth round that year, and cut him, to keep Pierre Thomas. And so it's those guys were worked out, but it was a very homegrown process there, but it was a similar thing there in New Orleans when we were there those 3 years.
Yeah, it's and I'm going to come out. These trades didn't happen 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it's as a fan, it's fun, because who doesn't love a good? NBA trade deadline and MLB trade deadline are two on those longer seasons with all these games. It is a nice, cool sub bar to focus on for a week and focus your energy onto, and especially with the NFL because you only get the weekend. You have to wait all week, so it's a good thing to sink your teeth into. So let's we got games getting ready to start here, but let's go ahead and talk about some names, and you guys say yes or no if you think they'll get traded or not, and this will be rapid fire.
If G-Dub hits me again, he's going to get traded because
I want to see a rapid fire.
He needs to remember whose house he lives in.
Well, that might be your house.
Because I'll change the keys, change the locks.
You'll
get traded.
King of the castle.
We get traded to I don't know, East Cleveland or some not out.
Hey, you don't have your hammer with you, so I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's
so okay. Will this person get traded? Yes or no? Cooper Kupp.
No.
He said that really quick.
Yeah.
like he must know something. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Matt Stafford for Sam Darnold. Does that swap that's being rumored, does that happen?
No, definitely not.
Does Matt Stafford get traded in general?
No.
I don't. Unless they're getting a quarterback back.
If Matt Stafford gets traded, it would be to the Vikings.
If Matt Stafford gets traded, first of all, as well, too, it'd be because he wants to get
That's
traded.
Right.
And agrees to it because he's got a no trade clause.
He has a no trade.
That is true. He does have the no trade clause. I did forget about the old no trade clause. I think that's.
Yes or no? You shot the buck that's mounted on the wall with the hat behind you.
Yep. And that one. And that turkey. and those ducks.
There you go.
Actually, the one I shot last year's in that one. Yeah, that one's like my. It's okay. It's cool. It's not.
G-Dub and I were driving the other day in Cleveland. Where were we?
We were on the highway going downtown.
Yeah, we were on the highway.
71.
We were coming. I think we were 71. We were coming home from Burke Lakefront or whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, "Look at that!" And it's just right off the road, and it's on a little hill, right, grassy hill. There's two little trees right there, and there are these two. They were younger bucks. They look like, and it's kind of earlier in the season, so their antlers are still growing in. So they were 6-pointers, but small 6-pointers. right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were both like laying down, right? And so they were just, sitting up like sphinxes essentially. And we're like, and it was just them. It was just these two bucks, and they were probably a few feet apart, just laying there and just looking at the cars passing by. I was like, look at this. I was like, this is crazy.
We need to do a group hunting trip out in Excelsior Springs and go take down an old Missouri whitetail.
If there's anything left,
I know a lot of places to go.
He and his brother and cousins and my cousins and us, like, I think hunted all the quail and pheasant and chucker and
now
dove.
Bird hunting that's one thing that was my dad. They used to go out and kill like 60 quail on a rabbit hunting. On every Thanksgiving, they'd go rabbit hunting, and whatever quail they kicked up and shot was like extra. But then after the big blizzard in the 70s, there's no more of that stuff really around down here. So you have to go to other states for the bird hunting. But bird hunting, I would very much enjoy doing.
One of my favorites.
That would be fun. Yep. I mean, when them, I don't know, never really got to do that. I mean, like waterfowl and geese, obviously, is duck and geese season is always a big deal. But so yeah, let's before we get into the game, which is going to be starting here in about 10 minutes. I think 8:20 is about when the coverage starts here. But we had some other fun stats from around the league that are, you guys have been around. You've seen some things. So you guys can go ahead and put this into perspective of how wild of stats these are.
You hear what Booger McFarland said about stats this week?
I know. I saw.
Oh, no. But anything Booger says, I want to hear.
He said, stat. They're talking about stats. He's like, stats are like bikinis. They cover some stuff, or said they reveal some stuff, but then they cover some other stuff.
That's what he said.
Did you guys see that?
They show some stuff, but then they don't show the other stuff or whatever.
Speaking of stats, did you guys see Reggie White's sack record is actually Michael Strahan's sack record is actually on a statistical error. That video came out. One of his sacks, the quarterback actually gained 2 yards, and they counted it as a sack.
I did not see that. No.
Wow.
Yeah, it just came out. Yeah. So when Brett Favre rolled over, it shouldn't even have mattered. He should have been one away.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was a clear gain too, because they even marked him forward progress, but the statistician still gave him. Now I don't know what game in the season that was. If that's toward the last three, I bet it was a home game. But
it was. I'm glad. Well,
but now you know. Now you know.
Has a great relationship with us, but he and Numbnuts get together and they both start drinking, and they just like go at each other like two pieces.
There you go.
And it usually ends up with G-Dub. It usually ends up with G-Dub like telling straight.
What I tell him?
Telling Strahan, he's like, oh, something like, shut the F up, you gap-tooth MFer.
I call him a gap-tooth MFer.
I could kick a field goal through the gap in them teeth. And it's just like,
I call him
it's usually like me and Jay Glazer, who was an MMA fighter, right? But like usually like be like, all right, boys, settle down. Settle down.
Oh, no, never. Oh, man. So, yeah, hey, there you go. You got some ammunition next time you guys get into a little pissing contest. Be like, you didn't even break the fucking record.
Yeah. I'll get him. I promise.
Yeah.
I promise. In fact, I may do it right
now.
now.
I knew it. I was like,
yeah. Like, it has come to my attention you hold a fake record.
I will get him. I will.
That's funny. All right. Well, speaking of a record you don't want, Daniel Jones probably has one here.
Oh, I know where you're going with that.
658 days since Daniel Jones has thrown a touchdown pass in MetLife Stadium. That is 2 freaking years almost, by about 14 days away.
Yeah, January 1st, 2023.
I know.
Was the last time that he threw for threw a touchdown pass at home.
Yep.
If now, hey, real kick in the nuts has been probably about twice that much, about 1,300 days probably since Deshaun Watson's passed for 300 yards in a football game. He has not thrown for over 300 yards in a football game as a Brown. And then obviously he did not play his last year at the Texans. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's definitely over 1,300 days.
Cooper Kupp has let himself go. He looks like shit. That beard is not good on him. It is not. You can't be 140 pound and have the Ryan Fitzpatrick beard. I'm sorry, you just can't do it.
Yeah, it's neck.
All right, kickoff is underway. Minnesota got the ball first,
and all the way out back to the end zone.
Yep.
This is an interesting stadium to play in.
It's obviously stadium.
Obviously, you opened it up, right?
I was there when we opened it,
and it's an awesome. And I've played in it as an opposing team. I wasn't with the Rams anymore when they were out there, but it'll be interesting to see what we do here tonight. Okay, we got a little pistol 2-back set. I think
here we go.
It was
Darnold Darnold with the creepy mustache.
It looks
here.
like
eye over. There we go.
What are the chances Sam Darnold is driving a white Econoline van that says free candy on it on the way to the stadium? Asking for a friend. Because I got questions on his character.
I'll give you a chance to act like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Old man's breaking the seal because he's drank some Patron. So so he has to tell me that I can commentate right here. He's probably
going to go text straight on that record.
Pass right here. Yep, there we go, right there.
Jefferson.
So just little things looking right there, like, okay, so the offensive line was clearly like showing pass, especially both tackles were clearly showing pass, and the running back was at about 6.5, 6.25 yards deep right there. He would have been back there at least 7.5 yards had that been run. And so it's like all those little things that like we just pick up on that we just see over and over and over and over again. If this was on pure scripted plays right here, this would probably be play action to the offense's right, but it's actually run to the offense's right.
Well, do you think that was an option though? Do you think that was an RPO?
No, that was a run. I was before seeing the footage, right? I was just saying like that would be a thing that Kevin O'Connell would do in his like scripted openers, which is like, hey, run the ball on first down, which he did, and then come back and go play action pass. That right there is duo. What they just ran right there was duo. It's like the most in vogue run in the NFL, right? Which is where you're basically getting 3 double teams at the point of attack, which is why you have to build that tight bunch that was over there to the offensive right. And so basically you're trying to get like power like double teams between like a tight end and a tackle, a guard to center, and like a guard like fanning on the backside to the lineman but it's still zone blocking. This looks like pass by the tackles right here. Yep, there it is. Play action pass. Boom. He's threading the needle right now. 2 play action or 2 passes hitting Justin Jefferson, which I know we were talking stats before the game and or right there before we went live, and they were showing all these stats on how Justin Jefferson is like number 1 in the NFL in basically every receiving category since he came into the NFL, and he's like got the 3rd most receiving yards through his first however many games he's played. They were showing up there like Torrey Holt. It was maybe like the greatest. He was like the old Rams guys. In fact, they're playing the Rams tonight, but they were showing it was like Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Randy Moss, him, and like Jerry Rice or whatever. Like those 5 are like the
Isaac Bruce is so forgot about when he was
a great player.
Him and Tim Brown got shit on all the time because they played the same era as Jerry Rice.
Yep, great player.
Well, and then Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt played on the same team together, you know.
Yeah, greatest show on turf.
Which technically Tim Brown and Jerry Rice did as well too, but it was like at the end of both of their careers when they played together at the Raiders, and Jerry Rice and Tim Brown were like 40.
Yep.
And he was still catching 120 passes a year.
Yep.
While we're on our first commercial break here, speaking of crazy stats, this one's crazy. Yeah. The Lions offense is the only team with more offensive touchdowns, 18, than incompletions, 16, in a 4-game span since the merger.
Mm-hmm.
Incomprehensible might be, it's a fancy word, but it's a good word to describe how freaking nuts that is.
Inconceivable. I don't think.
Or just put like,
Here,
that's
tell me this.
crazy.
Tell me,
You know?
tell me. Hey, here's a line for you. Inconceivable. I don't think that word means what you think it means. Name that movie. You know?
Is a Will Ferrell movie?
No, it's an old movie. Princess Bride.
Oh, well, I remember. I know the movie. I just don't remember it. I don't.
You keep saying inconceivable, inconceivable, and the little I don't know, whatever he was, French or Italian or whatever, sword fighters. Like I don't think that word means what you
I think
it
that
means.
stat is unbelievable, and I am so proud of
Cheetah's like, no.
But then again,
he's like, can we get back to football?
Hey, who cares about that movie?
He's over here like Belichick. He's like,
he asked a question, and now you're talking about movies. Who gives a shit? Okay, so anyway, but Dan Campbell, you know, and then Mark Brunell's the quarterback coach there, and the coach Tim too, and then I think Ben's done a great job with that whole offensive system there, and the whole synergy around Jared playing the lights out the way he's playing. Mm-hmm. I couldn't be more proud and more happier for a whole team than what the Detroit Lions are setting up to be right now.
Has there ever been a more mutually beneficial trade than that one? Rams got their Super Bowl.
No, I mean, I would
Detroit finally got a quarterback that just thrives in Detroit.
And especially if Detroit makes it to the Super Bowl, which they already made it to the championship game.
Yeah, I mean now
LA,
no
I mean, like I said, like they went all in. The Rams went all in. They won the Super Bowl. And then you see what it's done with Detroit and to Detroit. And there's never really, I would say probably not. There's not probably been a more win-win that situation. It helped the Rams be able to jettison some cap stuff, and stuff like that as well too, to be able to over leverage for that Super Bowl like they were able to do in that window. And so,
well, I'm going to say something here right now, and it's going to be on the Dude Network. Okay, so pay attention. I did not answer completely about Stafford being a possibility of going to the Vikings. And there has been some discussion behind the scenes about him pissing off people there about the contract situation and all that type of stuff. And believe me when I say that's still a possibility that could happen before the trade deadline. And just remember that I said that.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Now, who's pissing off now? Is Stafford? Okay, is Stafford or Darnold pissing?
No, because we're all he's saying Stafford. And so since we're all going on limbs here, I'm saying somebody checked their phone or texted somebody when they went to take a old man piss.
Mm-hmm.
And
what was it?
I'm just saying, that's my guess.
I did. My phone's right here. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Somebody
wide open
me the other day.
Touchdown.
And talked to me about
touchdown.
Now, who is this? Now, who's that tight end?
Yeah,
84.
Oliver. So it was what we would call like K-pass.
Hey, Minnesota's offensive line just completely destroyed LA's defensive line. That whole drive. Every play, Minnesota. Look at this. Look at this surge right there. Every play, they had guys 2-3 yards down the field on the line. All the time in the world. Jeez, man. And the PAT is up. It's good. All right, 7-0.
Yeah, it was an excellent opening drive. The classic example of like Kevin O'Connell's take on like the Shanahan West Coast, the modern Shanahan West Coast system. There was a lot of like OG West Coast concepts in there.
Very
like
much.
You go back to like even like the first play, right? The first play they got in pistol, but all they did was line up in far eye and run split zone out of 21 personnel, right? 2 backs, 1 tight end, like an age-old staple right there. A lot of their play action passes that they ran there, and then even the touchdown. That's an age old. West Coast low red zone play or short yardage play, and so it's called K-Pass. Now I like the way they ran it. Normally, the way K-Pass is ran is you have a fullback in the backfield, offset to that side that you're play faking it at. You play fake a hard lead action with all the light offensive linemen blocking gap down away from it. The fullback guy slips to the flat, and he's supposed to be like the wide open. He acts like he's going to block the point of attack person, and then he slips, and he's supposed to be like the wide open person. The running back comes off of the fake and chops and cuts that unblocked in man on line of scrimmage. Right. And so the quarterback's first read is that fullback to the flat. And then if not there, then he comes back to the cross or drag, which is what they actually hit for the touchdown right there. Yep. But they built that actually by what's called 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, and they did the same across the ball motion. Mm-hmm. So it was actually like really creative. I liked it where they took they did the same across the ball motion that they've been doing that whole opening drive. The Vikings did, and made the fullback basically that like second tight end guy in motion. And the Rams did a hell of a job picking that guy up, but Sam Darnold found the second option. Ooh, unforced and non-typical drop right there by Puka Nacua.
Little jitters. First catch back.
I have to call Reggie the trainer. Evidently, he didn't work any ball drills with Puka during the time he was off for the last 5 weeks.
Well, you were talking too much, running your mouth about nonsense earlier, but because Reggie was on the Reggie was on the screen. I know you saw him, but you couldn't stop talking about what you weren't supposed to be talking about. There's double A gap bug right there. Back to Puka Nacua.
All right, gave him a little redemption there. A little faith in the guy.
I think that to me that looked like it was a hard call. I say that because that would be a typical check to the double A gap mug everybody up look that Flores was doing right there and has been doing. That corner couldn't have avoided contact more. Mm-hmm. Hey, coach, I forced the play right here. Watch. It's a double screen. They didn't show up, but that corner forced nothing.
All right, so Kyron Williams.
Split zone, cut back out the backside.
I got Kyron in both fantasy leagues, so he can do that all night. I'm telling you what, boys, this might be one of those 40-30 games.
I think it's going to be a good game. I really do.
Who knows?
I really do.
It's fun and interesting right now because all these guys come off the same tree, so you get a chance to see like pretty much every year right now because they're all in the NFC. You get to see against Sean McVay, so the Rams, right? Kyle Shanahan, so the 49ers, Kevin O'Connell, so the Vikings, and Matt LaFleur, so the Packers. And those are 4 of the top teams every year in the NFC, and they're all best friends and all off the same tree, which is the modern Kyle Shanahan tree. And look at that mustache right there, Tony. Right? Oh, look at that handlebar.
Oh, mustache. That dude's using Copper John's mustache wax for sure.
He was predicting
Flores had to move.
That was
he's like, no, we got to get the camera on me, not on this Doc Holliday Wild Wild West mustache right here.
All right, this one's for you, Blake. You want a little Weller green tonight?
I do. I'm gonna switch. I got some Weller antique, but special. Look at him over here. He's tired of. He interrupted us. Because he said I want another one. You're actually not going to get another one right now because we've gone 6 weeks without you interrupting anybody, and all you've done tonight is interrupt.
I personally prefer chaos, so I think we need to get him a double.
Well, he already had a double. He's already had 5 ounces of Patron.
Well, then this is like the double. It's the Dude Network. We double everything. That's how we do it. By the way, we do.
I'm voting with you. I think you're right, and I think he's wrong.
I mean, I am the captain of common sense normally.
Normally. You know what is not common sense, and or not thought of? I did not think how difficult it was going to be to sit on this slick cape And so I'm like,
Oh yeah.
my hamstrings and glutes are shot right now because I want to like slip off this couch, and so I'm having to like maybe if I put my feet up, I don't want to kick the camera, but I've been sliding off this couch all night long. Another screen.
They brought the
hell. So everything right. I love it, man.
Slide block.
Both first 15s right now are both offensive coaches accurately predicted what the defenses were going to do, the mentality and the alignments and structures of what the defenses were going to do. And the defenses have done exactly those things. And so both offenses therefore have had like, and these are scripted plays, but they have had like the perfect plays. So now it'll be interesting to see after
there we go again.
Another split zone out the backside. But it'll be interesting to see after this drive right here how the two defensive coordinators adjust. Which one?
Now, is it easier for an offensive coordinator to adjust or a defensive coordinator to adjust?
I would say this, and I'll let G-Dub chime in on this as well too. It does not matter. It's personality, and so there is a surprising amount of coaches in the league that are chart callers. And so
drives me batshit.
I knew
drives me batshit.
Meaning they plan their whole game plan and how they're going to call stuff and when they're going to call stuff. And I'm going to put all these in this bucket and these in this bucket. And I'm just going to cross them off and I'm not going to call this again. And the next time we get in this situation, I'm going to call this call. And like they basically plan it all out ahead of time so that like it mathematically adds up to no tells. But then they can't adjust necessarily on the fly. And then there's the coaches out there like G-Dub and Sean Payton and Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid, right? You know, that can and Belichick, who can throw the play sheet down at any point in time in the game and say, okay, now I'm calling on just like the game that we've game planned for this game, a different game is unfolding right now here.
We see what we're playing.
Yeah, see what we're playing, see what we need to do to adjust, and now we're going. And I'm calling off my gut, off of this, not reading off of a play sheet.
And I think you were conservative saying that only a select number of people. I think there's way too many young guys that are calling off of analytics and all that kind of happy horse shit instead of having their instincts and calling the game. And you know, they've never called a game before in their life. All of a sudden, they get the job to do it, and they look like shit.
Paul DeVodesta ball. What?
Oh, yeah.
Is he even alive? I mean, I just want to see a public appearance from the guy. But anyway,
he was at the game this weekend.
He was at the game this week, and
he was. I didn't even know what he looked like. Christ.
Yeah, I just talked to him this past week.
Yep.
You guys talked to him?
I did.
Oh, good for you.
I'm an analytics guy, dude. You just have to understand how to use it.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Fantasy point.
Very good job.
Running back, waist route, out of the back. I'm telling you.
And 5 out, and he threw the ball in less than 2.3 seconds. He got it out of his hand.
Yep. I said this is fun football. I know we're both defensive. We're both primarily – all right, let me talk about this angle right here. I want to talk about something real quick. That running back is what we call chowed. This is clearly passed. The running back was chowed. So chowed is an acronym meaning cheated out wide. And so he was aligned like splitting the outside leg of the tackle. Like that is not a running back alignment. That is a running back alignment where you've put him there to get him the ball. Like he's not in protection, it's not run, it's pass, and not only is it pass, but he's going to be targeted as the primary.
He's lined up like a wide receiver.
And so, like what we would do in that situation, why we don't get a lot of those little concepts like that, is we would be like chow, chow, chow. So like that would be Myles Garrett right there, say if we were at the Browns. And so it'd be like chow, chow, chow. Myles Garrett would be standing up in a 2-point stance and widen out in vertical rush, and he would actually like hit and reroute and try to like take that guy off of his cleats right there and totally take him out of the route, because and you have to do some teaching to guys, especially the great guys like Myles Garrett, and you have to show them that, look, the reason you're doing this right now is because if the tackle fell down and you just rushed on the quarterback on air, but you didn't like hit this route, this running back is going to free release past you, and the quarterback's going to like evade ground away from you and dump it to him for a wide open touchdown before you can get there on air.
Doubt.
Even if you don't have to beat the tackle, you can't get there on air because of this concept. So right now, for the good of you got a chance if you reroute this guy and make the quarterback say, "Oh crap!" and now have to go someplace. You got a chance now to like run a natural game, like a natural TE game, and wrap back in, fold back in, say off the defensive tackle to the scrambling quarterback, and now get a sack. But you will not. So guess what? Hey, they put him over here, chowed to your side right here. You need to stand up, chow, 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 hit.
Chow equals hit,
and reroute that. But that takes, again, like I said, and I was saying we're known as defensive guys, but we're really offensive guys. I mean, I was an offensive coach for Sean Payton when we won the Super Bowl. G-Dub was a quarterback, which I don't know if a lot of people know. G-Dub was a quarterback and an offensive coordinator and an offensive-minded, coach until Jack Pardee moved him at the Houston Oilers over to the defensive side of things to teach him the George Allen defensive system, and so that he would be a better offensive coach and move, even better offensive coach, even more knowledgeable, and that was in 1989, and he never moved back, but from 1958 to 1989, G-Dub was an offensive guy and a quarterback and whatnot. And so we coach defense through the mind of the offense. And I love this game and the way it's unfolding right now.
Do too.
But I'm excited to see how Brian Flores and then Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, is Don Shula's grandson.
Right.
I'm interested to see how
Mike Shula's boy.
Yeah, Mike Shula's boy. And he and Sean McVay were college roommates and best friends, and so that's how. So he's Chris Shula's been on the staff. He's one of the few guys that has been on the staff at the Rams through the entire time that Sean McVay's been
Wade
there.
Phillips, Raheem Morris.
Yep. He was there with all the defense coordinators. Sean McVay gave him a chance as a kind of quality control coach, and he's just risen up through the ranks to now finally taking over as the defensive coordinator. But I'm interested to see now how these two defenses adjust, because the offenses, like the plays that were ran on both offensive drives, were designed to really purposely take advantage of what they knew the defenses was going to do.
Well, it looks like LA put more guys in the box so far on this drive. They put about 7 in there that time. I think they're only rushing 4 on that opening drive.
So that was the same thing of like, hey, build a formation to the offensive left and then motion shift, move multiple people to really get to the final overload formation to the offensive right. So that's what the Vikings have been doing all game long here tonight on both run and play action. And then they ran power. And it got stuffed. This would be drop back pass, screen, or draw.
Yeah, right. So the defense put them now into a passing situation.
Wally.
Yep.
So they put Jefferson in the backfield to free release, chow him, and target him.
Played zone.
And they played zone and over-undered it. Yeah. You see the little punch on the sideline right there?
Yeah.
So Wally they took their dominant threat. That can be hard if you're a man-to-man team, which they took their dominant player right there, Jefferson, and they put him in the backfield as a running back.
Oh, he had to cover him.
Yeah, and they were trying to run him on a route on the linebacker. And
so what's the down? Okay, so what's the downside to that strategy?
When they motioned him back there, they saw nobody traveling with him, so they knew it was zone.
All right,
they
kill. It. So they just audible. They just checked right here off of the shift to run a little lead zone. So nice. And so, I mean, hey, they're still throwing some stuff at him. They're still probably in their scripted plays, because that opening drive was only about a 7. That opening drive was probably only about a 7-play drive. What do you got, Gito? I'm going to let you talk a little bit right now.
I just said it's 3 series. And it's second and third right now. I mean, they're dumb unless it's a play action pass. But, run the ball again.
Let's see here. Survey says
second and
3. It's definitely a running situation. At only thing.
Yep. Play action pass.
So it's play action max protect.
Jefferson right there again, man. Jefferson is getting so much space early on in this game.
Yep. and he's definitely.
But I mean, sometimes like they just showed a stat. You can't do zone against Jefferson because he's going to find your soft spots because he's that good. But he's leading all the receivers in man-to-man coverage. It's like, what the hell do you do? You know, you can't double team everybody. You can't double
team him and make somebody else win, but you say he's not going to beat us, so double cover him in pass situations.
Hey, don't start asking G-Dub questions on 4 ounces, 5 ounces of Patron.
No,
right? He's going to think that he's going to think you can't hear him. He's going to think you can't hear him and can't see him. He's got to get right up against the camera to answer you.
So I guess how critical was it for them to nail the Addison draft pick last year? So they had that number 2. Like, I mean, it's got to be vital to have the reliable number 2.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to have a reliable number 2, especially when you have a dominant, like top of the league, number 1. But I would say your ability to run the ball,
yes,
and then like your ability to have a good receiving tight end is even more important than you having a dominant other number 2, if that makes sense. In the grand scheme of things, of like, what's the cheapest and easiest way?
Quick.
What's the cheapest and easiest way? Yes, I do like
After
this
yard.
right here.
I do too.
Right. So, yep. So fireball right there. I love it. I love it.
Very good.
Number 30 is Wallace right there is delusional as he's holding up the 4th down signal.
Yep.
And
you got to do it.
Sam Darnold probably got the first
coach
down
to
by a
do
yard and a half.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's clearly
deny till you die. Deny till you die. Deny till you die.
And that was very, very good coaching from the sideline there from Kevin O'Connell. Okay, and
so it's probably something like
code word.
Yeah, so probably like for Sean Payton, this would be like, so it'd be like Converse, and so which is like Converse sneakers, so sneak.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go from 2nd down to 3rd down in that situation and see that like, oh, I don't want them to be able to switch their short yardage out there and everything. I want to like quarterback sneak it real quickly versus this pass defense that they have out there right now. Converse.
Yep.
And so you have your fireball or your automatics, right? And there's usually like code words for those.
And when I was the head coach of Buffalo, I had a word called red ball sneak. Okay, and that's what we were doing in that situation. If I didn't say the word sneak, it was going to be a inside zone away from the safety.
For years playing against Tom Brady would do the mascot of the team he's playing against.
That's right.
And it would be more usually like, and he could use it in that situation. Tom Brady could use it in that situation, or Tom Brady sometimes would use it where like he would get up there and see a team that would be in like have nobody in the A gap. So they would have like 2 wide 3 techniques. They'd be like in a wide tackle 6 or what we would call a heat front. And there'd be nobody in either of the A gaps. And so he'd be like, oh, Bills, Jets, right? Or whatever the mascot he's playing against. And he would just all on his own, all of a sudden check to a sneak. And he'd get like 6 yards right there, because or whatever, just because of seeing them lined up on a base down in a 3rd down defense.
Very well.
Here we go. 1st and goal at the 10. And
touchdown. Pass. They just built it a different way. I saw them lined up
different way.
Holy cow. So we'll come back and watch this again. And so what they did this time is they did it out of 11 personnel, so 3 wide receivers.
Yep.
And so last time they did it out of 12 personnel, but they called the formation the same way. And before they took a tight end over in motion and ran him over there. Watch this, though. So see this receiver number 4. Number 4 is essentially playing the fullback. So it's the exact same run. They slipped him. They guarded him, and so he came back to the dragger. Last time, that was a tight end on a dragger and a tight end to the flat. This time, they had all these wide receivers out there lined up in the same route formation, just didn't do the little pre-snap motion of 4, and they were trying to sneak number 4 to the flat, to the right offensive flat on a K pass, and, hey, it wasn't there, and how quickly Sam Darnold, because he conceptually understands what they're doing here, which is, covered. Is it drag? Is it open? No, drag. And how fast I got to come back and do that. And that's interesting. I love how they this is the West Coast offense. So when you talk about conceptual teaching and conceptual learning and taking something simple and making it look complex is that's what they're doing right here. So they're running a lot of the same concepts over and over and over again. They're just doing them out of a slightly different motion or shift, or quarterback under center versus quarterback in the gun, or a different personnel package. And so the reason, even the different personnel package that the offense would do that is because two big reasons. There's multiple reasons it could be, but two big reasons. One, because you want to run that offensive play versus a certain coverage or a certain set. And if, hey, I want to go into this game and, hey, they're giving me more anticipation of being in the defensive coverage or the defensive look that I want for that concept, when we put these offensive players on the field versus these offensive players on the field, like I want this for man-to-man, but right now they're not giving me man-to-man with 3 receivers on the field. They're only giving me man-to-man with 2 receivers on the field. Well, I'm going to run that concept and put 2 receivers on the field to more guarantee that, if that makes sense. And so going into the game, they want to have it in different situations. Two, the other reason you do it is because you can practice concepts, and now you can handle the attrition that happens throughout a game. So what happens when we go into the game and we only have one fullback on the roster and we've got all this stuff planned? This stuff planned and he gets knocked out. Well, there better be a tight end that can.
Yeah, you always got to have that plan B.
Yeah. And he's not only can he do it, but he's practiced it all week long against those looks and those concepts and those what ifs of this defense. Like he knows and can do it. And so that's why you do it as well too, is so that you have that crossover of like, hey, this guy goes down. We don't have to just completely abandon all that stuff. We can just shift those concepts to this other package. And that's the West Coast offense. At the heart of things, really our defense is a West Coast defense. Really what we did was we just took the Buddy Ryan defense and we took the West Coast offense and offensive philosophy of teaching and game planning and compartmentalization and combine them together. And then the very heart of all that defense is actually the Tampa 2. Yep. So now there comes in Tony Dungy and Monty Kiffin. But it's really from a call structure and a conceptual standpoint, it's a West Coast Bill Walsh philosophy.
Yep.
God bless Bill Walsh.
To defense, yeah.
We had one more name, and we have Dick
LeBeau. I knew you were
Dick LeBeau.
Dick LeBeau,
and how we play our underneath zone drop coverage people. And then all that kind of stuff gets blended together. Unless you're in our family, my family of coaching, you have no idea. You said something a while ago about the K-Pass thing too, but let's go back one more thing. And this is where Deshaun had no idea. Okay, I'm talking about Deshaun.
No, it was DTR.
Yeah. Well, DTR. No. I'm talking about Deshaun, DTR, who I don't give a rat's ass anybody. Okay, but right now we will. As you talked about Sam Darnold, it was look at the flat covered, drags covered, out. Okay, throw it out of the end zone, take the next step right there instead of taking a sack or trying to extend the play when the pocket is collapsed. Okay, and that is how you go about that West Coast offense right there. It's not about running the ball as lots of other people's things now. We're improvising.
It's decision making within a system.
That's right.
And the quarterback has to be able to adhere to that. Pass right here, and the receiver just said he was hot, and he caught the ball, and he dropped the ball. Cool. So what happened right there, that was clearly pass just from a formation standpoint in the tackle, especially the right tackle, who looked like, as Gita would say, he's about to kickstart a moped. right next to the tight end.
Exactly right.
And so clearly it's passed, but Cooper Kupp gave the little fist right there to Stafford before the snap because Cooper Kupp's so smart, and that's what we've talked about forever, is he knew what the defense was doing as well too, so he was giving him the fist that, hey, I'm going to be hot.
It seems to be the Jefferson versus Nakua show. Both these wide. Nakua's kind of taken over that wide receiver one stance, especially now that Coop's in trade rumors.
Stafford's pissed. Tried to audible and check and didn't get it out quick enough.
So timeout with 10 seconds left in the quarter. Why wouldn't you just let the quarter run out?
He called a timeout because they were going to get delay a game.
Yeah, because
was there not 10 seconds left on the play?
Yeah, it was an audible play. So Stafford was audibling and checking the play to the defense, and he didn't have enough time left.
That was their second timeout.
Right here. Listen to me. No, I'm going to line up right here.
Okay. And I'm going to let you know is the slowest play caller giving plays in to the National Football League to the quarterback is Sean McVay. Okay. And they've heard me say this before, but Matthew did not have the time to check an audible play because it came in too late. And I'm always studying and analyzing. He broke the huddle with less than 10 seconds to go on the clock.
Yeah, you can't do that. Especially if you're running an audible where you got to check at the – that gives you no time.
That was a great move.
Tyron Williams is – I'm going to come out and say it.
For you.
Most electrifying running back in the NFL right now. He came back from his injuries second half last year, and his foot has not let off the gas since he came back.
No,
if you look at the last 16 games, he's got to be up there.
Very good job.
I did pull up something here. All right, the final trade statistics of what the Lions got with their picks. They got Jared Goff. They got a franchise quarterback.
Yep.
Plus, they got Jamison Williams and defensive lineman Josh Pascal. Jamison's going through a little bit of stuff right now, but still been an absolute stud. Defensive back, Ifeatu Melifonwu.
Yep.
And then the Lions also drafted Jahmyr Gibbs with one of those picks. Tight end Sam Laporta was one of those picks.
Yep.
Plus, they got to keep Jared Goff. I think the Lions, LA, the old question, how much are you willing to pay for a Super Bowl? And, they paid a pretty good price tag, but they got the ring. But Lions, like I said, I think it's one of the greatest mutually beneficial trades in NFL history because it changed both franchises.
And, the general manager at the Detroit Lions is another very close friend, Brad Holmes. And Brad Holmes was a scout for the Rams and was involved with all that Super Bowl and everything, all the years that Blake and I were there at the Rams. So he knew exactly what kind of a person, exactly what kind of a quarterback that he was getting out of Jared. And then he did a great job of capitalizing on all those picks you just talked about. So it was a big time overhaul on what Brad Holmes did because of his knowledge of being with the Rams before he made the move.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta alone are two guys that are going to be a foundation for at least 5 to 7 years each. So yeah, that plus Goff, you got 3 pillars. Yeah. So that was a win. And everybody tuning in, don't forget here in about 10 minutes we will be switching over to the late night parlay. And hopefully, coaches, you guys are able to come in here after halftime if you guys would like to and keep weighing in on this. We got a cool point of view tonight. Not the big live crowd. Me and Blake aren't completely losing our shit when John Kenzie Noel hitting a fucking bomb in the bottom of the ninth inning with 2 outs. That one, I've watched it more than I probably should have in the last 7 days. So everything's just fluid here on Thursday nights. A lot of NFL action. And this game is off to a fantastic start. 3 drives, 3 long drives, all resulting in touchdowns. Hell of a start for Thursday entertainment value here on the NFL for sure. And it's NBA opening weekend too. So hell yeah.
Yeah, you saw out there that they said the Cavs were on pace to be the first ever team to go 82-0.
That's right. Hey, suck it, MJ. Hey, Evan Mobley.
You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. They're one.
I didn't see that. Oh my God.
They're 1-0.
Hey, can't be 82-0 if you're not 1-0. That's just math.
I guess Ohio State can keep winning and win out, and still win a national championship with only 1 loss. But right now,
I hope not. Ryan Day has to go. You heard it here. No, I said it last year. I said he's not going to beat Michigan. I said it last year he needed to go. Then he lost to Michigan. And I was like, I told you all at the start of the year that was going to happen. 1-7 against top 5 teams. That's all you need to know. When you have the budget that Ohio State has, that is unacceptable.
How about that? Can you even tell me who the hell was primary force on that play?
I knew you were going to.
I couldn't. It drives me nuts.
There was none.
I know.
There was none. They were all playing. There was no force player.
And
Well,
here's
good
the
news
thing,
for us.
stand up and lets a receiver and a tight end blocking. Are you kidding me?
All right.
Drives me bananas.
Oh, hey, did you see Gilmore's effort here? Watch number 2 of Minnesota. Watch this. Then he didn't even turn.
He said, I'm too old for this. Pass.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Run outside zone away from that tackle.
Yeah.
That same tackle that's been
Everybody else is flat.
showing pass all night long.
Oh,
I guess it's the opposite tackle that's been showing pass. It's the right tackle. Yeah. That was
you know you got popped in the head when you're looking out of your ear hole when you come up.
I like those Rams J's right there. See that all the sideline, like the equipment manager or the athletic guys have those yellow and
the Air Force Ones.
Yeah, I like them.
Those are clean.
Call
Reggie.
I'm gonna have to
They
call
look too much like Golden State Warriors, and you can't rock that in Cleveland. You can't do that.
Another pistol situation right here. Now this is drop back pass pistol right here.
Both tackles standing up.
There you go. Right back to Puka Nakua on an inside side. So much tonight has been, from a route concept standpoint, has been how many different ways can we target our bread and butter dominant guys, right? Like you talked about earlier, and on quick inside breaking throws. So how can we and then they're taking both offenses are doing things, whether they be play action or formationally, to suck up those linebackers or those basically like 58 right there, those inside window threats.
Monday.
Yep. And then they're just going inside breaking routes. And so the defenses need to adjust right back to
what a play.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. And here's the thing, like, it's not bad defensive play right now. They're just getting out schemed. Like right now, both offensive play callers are calling either. Sometimes it's just hard called, and they know what they're going to get, and they get exactly that, and they're getting what's called a carded look, or they're calling double called plays, and the quarterbacks are good enough to check to that second read or that second play. But the defenses are not playing poorly right now, like structurally. They're getting out executed and out schemed right now.
Come on,
that was definitely not
what you're talking about is that's the importance of making sure the picture that you're presenting to the opposing offense is not what you're playing post snap, because you can get them to check into things that you want them to check into.
And that's what we do, so well. And I've always done. I'm trying to think of guys out there right now. Probably Spags.
Spags is doing a good job.
Does that very, very well. They do that really well up in Seattle.
Did really well.
And McDonald, obviously did that very well at Baltimore before he got up there.
Yeah.
4 strong.
Oh, offsides. Can't do that.
Did you see Stafford? It was the center didn't snap the ball. The center didn't snap the ball, so that's why.
Yeah, everybody kept leaning forward. It wasn't just the left tackle.
Yeah, it wasn't just the left tackle. The tight end. I thought they were going to call the tight end who went in motion as well too.
Time for some burpees.
Immediately, Stafford walked up to the offense, the center to probably say some not too.
Stafford was hurrying up his play count. Because the ball came in late.
The
ball came in late.
He's like,
he's trying to hurry it up because the play came in late.
So here's another question. Then you get rid of Stafford, who's a senior veteran at that. What do you do with a quarterback that can't handle these late play calls to compensate that? That's a tough question.
All right, he's checking the protection. I heard your question. We're going to get to it right now. He's checking the protection lines, going to the offensive left, getting the running back out on the route.
Oh, that's pass interference.
And so,
why? They did not need to interfere there at all. Free first down.
You gotta be kidding me. So no, that's definitely part of it right there. Is like if that's the situation. Now the Rams are probably sitting there thinking they do have Stetson Bennett. I know he's kind of had some off-field type stuff, but he's like an older guy, and he has technically like been in their system now for their second year, even though he hasn't played. But he played a ton of college ball as well too. But yeah, no, that's definitely part of the system, right? It's like when we would go when they went from Drew Brees to Chase Daniel to Jameis Winston to any of those other guys, right? Like in even the Sean Payton era, you weren't calling the offense exactly the same way or having quite as many checks or options for the quarterback as right there.
Ooh.
So yeah, I mean, you have to adjust. You have to put more on yourself, and the less you can put on any one player. I mean, this is just obvious. The less you can put on the quarterback, so therefore, the less you can put on any one player, the more you have to spread the burden around. So you have to put more on the rest of the offensive players. Say the offensive line, like you're going to handle these checks. Receivers, you're going to handle these hots.
Second and goal.
Protection guys, you're going to have to know who you have in protection. You're going to have to block, and so that definitely comes up. Bird means, as dude keeps interrupting, bird means pass. He's alerting pass right here.
Oh, how about that?
Stafford did his best Baker right there. If you saw it, he did that little Baker kind of little high step when he came out from underneath it. Except he's a lot taller than Baker, but he did a little Baker high step.
Wow, we got 28 points. 5 minutes into the second quarter.
Before we go to the late night parlay, tell us what the bets are.
That's a great question. I tell you what.
I know you guys are over guys. And definitely this is looking like y'all's week for some overs.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Here is our late night parlay. We have Tutu Atwell over 3.5 receptions, which we've got nothing. Justin Jefferson 6.5. We pretty much already got that one. Kyron Williams over 93.5 rushing and receiving yards. He's already got probably 40 of that. So we need Tutu Atwell to get a couple more receptions here. Mm-hmm. But this is 50 to win $570, and we already pretty much got one leg of this knocked out here tonight.
That's like 11.5x.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's a solid one. That's a solid one. So we are going to wrap this up here for this one. Coaches, Gregg and Blake, awesome show. Great insight. Next level stuff here. That's why we're doing this show. We're bringing in a real point of view and with real people, from the pros to the Joes, and this is exactly what we're here for, and we're just getting started here. This game is just getting started here. Happy Halloween to you guys. Next Thursday, we're not going to be doing Champions Corner as we're doing. I'll be in Kansas City, close to old Excelsior Springs, Missouri out there, home of one legendary Gregg Williams. And we'll be out there doing shows next Thursday, and then the week after that, we'll be back Thursday, 7:30, right on schedule. Looking forward to it, boys. Thank you guys so freaking much for joining here. And we might see you guys here at the late night parlay after halftime, right?
Hey, hey, good. And I love being on the show, but listen to me, and I'll continue to do this, but don't ask me to dress up like this goofball. Okay, I ain't dressing up to be on this show. Okay, I'm gonna come here and get ready to go, but you got to wear a costume to act like you're Thor. Oh my gosh!
Don't act like you didn't almost wear the Hello Kitty outfit, Coach.
Says the dude. It says the dude who's going to be all dressed up at Grindstone Elementary tomorrow night for trunk or treat, and we're using and going to have his big SUV all decorated out as one of the cars for trunk or treat. That he's going to be a ghost or something like that.
I don't know. I will.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Good stuff. We got a hell of a game. Keep it locked in here on the Dude Network on the Late Night Parlay. We'll see you on the flip side. Let's go.